And we are back with more live coverage from the Season 3 North American qualifiers here in Los Angeles. Let's see what the beginning of the Season 3 means to the competition competitors in Group C.
To qualify for this event would mean everything to our team.
I'm hoping to basically get a salary here so I can do this full time.
We'll get the gaming house and stuff and
get the monies and the honeys.
Favorite job for us, for like video gamers, like you play video games for a living, it's like the best job you can even think.
Getting the opportunity to get salaried is just like unworldly to me.
I would have a new job. One that I actually like.
Nothing like this has really ever been attempted into esports. I'm like Gride's making the first foray into creating like a really professional league.
It seems too good to be true.
I'm here to win the Season 3 qualifiers to become pro next season.
I'm pretty sure we're going to do good in the tournament, but I mean, anything can happen. There can be upsets.
To qualify, I gotta carry as hard as possible. That's what people tell me, and that's what my team tells me, and I just gotta do what I gotta do. I'd say we have a fairly good shot at making Season 3.
Well, they think they've got a very good shot at making Season 3. Let's see if they can. That is the question. That was Louder Mortis. He is on the Brunch Club, and they're going to be facing Curse right now. Do you think they really have a chance? How close do you think this game could be? Brunch Club, certainly one of the teams that a lot of people have said, well, actually, we think they might make it through.
They're actually incredibly strong. You've got a lot of really top talent. Actually, one of the stories I want to tell is Louder Mortis. So there were a couple of player trades a while back, and generally speaking, he's actually one of the players that a lot of these top teams like CLG and Dignitas and Curse were looking at and trying to recruit into their lineups, and he would always turn them down and say, no, I'm going to stay loyal to Team Legion. He'd been on that team for a while and didn't want to leave. And he's one of these guys that the top caliber American teams were looking at. And now here's him heads up against one of those top caliber junglers, St. Vicious, of course on a top caliber team of Curse Gaming. And so you're going to see how he specifically matches up, but the rest of that team, they're incredibly good.
Well, we just saw Nick Wu on Jace there. We saw Kha'Zix as well. So we've seen a number of the champions that we've already expected to see throughout the day. Jace has been a pretty big thing in the mid lane lately.
Yeah, but you know, they ran him top lane there, and there's actually a couple of different surprises really available here. Chuper, the mid laner there, he's been practicing Xerath apparently. I was actually snuck out there between games and listened to Curse because they're watching, you know, that last game play out on the monitor, and they're talking about the picks and bans they want to go for and what they're looking at there. And Liquid's just like, remember, you know, Chuper's the guy who's been practicing Xerath recently. Like, just keep that in the back of your minds. Like, maybe they care, maybe they don't, but you know, they're just like, as soon as their game's done, next game, what's going on? Let's talk about this.
That's it. And they're keeping the minds out. And it also shows the research that these guys have had to do. You know, they've had to sit. You saw it in the video, really, that where they're sat in front of the board. They're sat working it out in themselves. They're sat there with a whole map coming out saying we could invade around here, we could do this.
Yeah.
But they've also had to do all the research of these teams, just like we did. I mean, you guys may have seen the picture we tweeted out. That's legit. We had to sit and write out all the 16 teams and really just go through all the names, all the main champions that we think they're going to play. That's the stuff that the teams will be doing as well.
Absolutely. There's a whole lot of preparation that comes into events like these. I remember from competing myself as I would just watch the old matches of my opponents and be like, okay, at 8 minutes and 12 seconds he builds a burrow. I'm going to go ahead and push in there and like cancel it so we can't get a second here. Like, that's the kind of stuff you would work out when you're trying to prepare for tournaments where you know your opponents. You know, getting through these tournaments where you know the schedule. Okay, here's our group. Here's the only 4 teams I could be facing. I know my first round opponent. Okay, if I win that, I'm going to guess here's the 2 who are coming out of the other group, and I'll go for those. And, like, you can kind of plan out your route and plan out for each opponent and know what's going on and have enough time that you can research these. Again, you know, trying to listen in on Curse's pregame chat, they had all sorts of picks that they were like, hey, they're going to go for Shen, they're going to go for Maokai, they're going to go for Amumu.
And from the same breath, the Brunch Club, they're going to come into this one. They haven't had the benefit of the fact that they can all sit around in this gaming house. They're all sat there with a manager. They've got their own shoutcaster. They've got everything. All the guys that can bring them research. You know, Pluto did the Rise of the 32, so he spoke to all of these teams. So he's got all the info that guys, you guys want to watch some of these interviews because all of these guys are in your group. How do the Brunch Club deal with this one? They have to just get together on whatever voice chat they're using. They don't have the benefit of all standing in one room. The concentration level's never going to be the same.
It's not really, and it is a little bit difficult. And I actually was good friends with a couple of the sort of up and coming, top 32 teams, and sort of tried to peer into how they sort of prepared for the season and whatnot. And one of the common trends I saw was that they sort of made one-sided team documents. That Curse has all sorts of things ready for them, and they've done player research and all this stuff. And these sort of lesser-known teams have these list of strategies that they'll run. And they'll say, okay, here's Poke Comp Red or whatever. It says, okay, well our top bans here are Shen, Malphite, Orianna, or whatever the examples. These are made-up examples, of course, but they would come through and say, let's go into this running strat A. From what we know about Curse, we'll run strat A, which means we're going to ban these 3, and we're just going to try to pick these like 5 champions with like 2 alternates in case some of them get picked out in the midway. And they would just sort of like go for one and then be like, yeah, we're just going to like build this together. And there's not a ton of room for reacting, because until you play a lot of games together and everyone has like a 10, 12 champion roster, you can't make these like mid-champ select switches and be like, oh shoot, they ran Kha'Zix, here's the counter pick, and still have it fit into a team comp.
Yeah. That
these guys have to either just kind of blindly counterpick and hope it worked in the end, or just blindly pick a team comp and hope that their lanes are okay.
And you've also got to look at the experience of these guys. I mean, we were just going through, you saw the shots there of all the players as it was going through. You could see the Curse guys were just cool as a cucumber. They were just sat there, chilled, discussing it, whereas the Brunch Club guys are setting up. I mean, they've just come from stage 2, so they're having to get onto things, they're having to agitate it, and they're all like, oh, we're excited. We've won our first game. We're just one game away from getting into the best of 3s.
Yeah.
The jitters are kind of there. You could see it, whereas Curse were just like,
they're ready to go, man.
Laid back, ready.
They are hardcore
been in this situation before, and I guess they've probably been in as the highest pressure situation you could get with the Season 2 regionals.
Yeah, and that was pretty intense.
Yeah.
They were in that game 3 against TSM. They were in that series against CLG Prime for that last slot. Like, they've competed at this and even higher levels, to be honest. Like, they do know what it takes to compete. And actually, the interview that we had, I think you were Riv, I forget, with Prawley right here.
Yes.
He actually said, like, well, Meat Playground actually looked nervous going into our match. And he was like, well, that's weird because they were the big name and we weren't. And they're nervous. I feel more confident now. You know what? Yeah, we could win this. Let's do this, right? And like, and seeing that sort of expression on your opponent's faces, it does change how you think about it.
It gives you the mental leg up, I guess you could
it does.
say. But,
it really does.
That you get over them. And actually, speaking to the Dirtnam Gaming guys, they're going to be facing against Good Game University.
Yeah,
they've beaten them a lot in
they
scrims
have
lately. That's going to be an interesting one. That will be tomorrow, of course. That's one of the matches. Second place of B versus first place of C. But that is tomorrow. We are all talking about today. And don't forget, there's also another game going on in Stream 2. And that will be the losers of the first game, Complexity versus
Pulse. So the 2 guys who are 1 game away from elimination.
And Jan actually thinks Pulse are one of the teams that may make it out of this group. So they're going to go into that one. Complexity, they actually looked okay as a team. It wasn't until the snowball sort of started to happen that they were in trouble. It's going to be really interesting to see how these 2 guys face up against one another. But we are going into the picks and bans, Freak. What are we expecting here from the bans?
Well, you're going to see a lot of sort of defensive, supporty champions getting banned out. Maokai Shen right off the bat there for Curse. And they were saying that actually, with Curse being first pick, they're willing to let Kha'Zix sit up there on the roster. They said, yes, we know that you guys play Kha'Zix, but I mean, of course, we have Voiba, who just did it last game. That's going to be there. They're going to leave that one up for themselves. They'll kill off Evelyn. That's fine. But they're very particular about what they're getting rid of.
There it is.
They're not going to get Kha'Zix themselves. Nunu would be my guess here as one of the really important. No, Elise.
Of course. We've seen a lot of Elise in Group A today, but Elise is definitely one of the champions the Voiba plays on the top lane now.
And she's so brutal as a lane as well. She actually 1v2s alright, has 2 ranged farming tools in human form, so it's not too bad to get stuck in a 1 versus 2 lane in general. You have pretty much skill shot immunity by pressing R and turning around. You just spawn spiderlings and make sure they're between you and your opponent, and you're good. And so she actually has a lot of really good situations there.
Yeah, and actually we saw Psycho Sid, I think it was this morning, playing at least in the effectively a 2v1 because Shen sat on him for the entire duration of 10 minutes as the jungler. But we do see Sona Misfortune being picked up there. What are Curse going to do to reply?
Well, they already know right off the bat, hey, we just fought something like this, an area of effect team composition. This has been like 12 minutes since we've seen this. So as long as they're good at going for their sort of single target focus, they certainly need to figure out what kind of a comp they're going to fight against. I've seen it go two different ways, because you can play like full-on tanky bruiser and just survive the AoE and then mop up afterwards because, well, we're all at half, but you have no spells left, so let's go. Or you play full-on, like, string the team out, globals. You know, this Twisted Fate they're looking at, that's a perfect way to split up the enemy team and just never let them play that 5-on-5.
And we just saw the Cho'Gath of St. Vicious disrupting that AE team perfectly, and why not just lock it in again? Yeah. So, Twisted Fate in the mid. Not really a great deal of counters to him.
So he's kind of a weak to run melee against him. You know, he's normally a guy you can bully a fair bit, but if you run a melee champion, he can spam blue cards on you, hit wild cards pretty easily when you last hit. Twisted Fate very occasionally gets to be a bully. If you let him get ahead, he can just wave clear with like a golem buff and never fall off, but if you play like a good harasser, someone who actually put in damage, you end up making Twisted Fate's life a little bit harder. What he really is going to want to do anyway is leave lane. He's going to want to shove and start ganking right at level 6, and Gold Card into Rupture is free ganks.
And let's not forget the extra that he gives the team. Also, he's kind of forcing, I guess, those wards to be in a slightly different place so you can pick him off. You know he's going down the bottom or whether he's going to go up to the top.
Yeah, the main thing you force is actually a ward right by your own middle turret. Because you have to leave lane to one side or the other in order to Destiny out and go for a gank. And so as long as you watch him leave, you're like, he's going towards bottom. Leave. He's going towards bottom, and that's usually enough time that your teammates can react and get out of dodge. But yes, he's going to be all around the map pretty constantly.
So we can see that Kassadin has been picked up in that mid lane as well as a Malphite. So it's going to be Nick Wu on Malphite. I guess it's going to be Nick Wu on Malphite in the top lane.
You can jungle him as well, honestly. Like that option really does exist. He's one of those champions
you can jungle Ezreal as well if you want.
I mean, to be fair, yeah. I'm going to jungle Sona myself in this game. I'm not going to switch places and just do that one. But yeah, you've got honestly really cool teams here. I actually like what Curse is looking at right now. Again, you're facing a pretty area of effect heavy team. You've got now 2 hardcore initiators. Amumu's gone, but you can pick up Malphite and do that the same way. He can initiate on. You can just kind of easily follow up. LEB can land the Sona ultimate and make life pretty easy. I kind of expect to see one more area of effect focused champion here just to round out the mix. But for Curse, they are super long range and they're splitting up the opposition, and that's exactly what you want.
And they can disperse really quickly. Voyboy can get the heck out of dodge. Cop can avoid the damage. You can have the Lulu ultimate. Nijaki, of course, he can just do whatever he wants normally half the time. What are we expecting? Final pick here is going to be probably the jungler.
Yeah, it's a jungler top laner. I'm trying to think what they want to go for here. Being heads up against Voyboy's Elise is a difficult situation. I don't think the 2v1 is really what they're looking for here. I mean, realistically, they could... Oh, okay, so looking at Zed right here, it is going to be Zed. Okay, so I honestly had no idea what it was going to be here, but the Zed pickup... I'm trying to think about the Zed versus Elise matchup. I still kind of favor Elise here, but Zed can play from far enough back that he can probably dodge most of the damage.
So we're going to see how that one lays out. What do we think overall? The 2 team comps, they've been locked in. What are we seeing?
All right, so still pretty much an all-in. Actually, there's 2 cool things here for the Brunch Club. They can play a full 5-on-5 like team fight battle, but also they've got decent assassination. Malphite, Zed, and Kassadin can all jump on a target and assassinate it. So you've actually got 2 outs here for the Brunch Club, which I really, really like. The only difficulty is they can't play well from behind. They have to go in to fight well. 4 of their 5 damage-dealing champions are melee. 3 of their 4 damage-dealing champions are melee, which is a very difficult thing to deal with. Meanwhile, on the other side, Curse, it's kind of all about stringing the fights around. It's a bit assassiny with Elise and Twisted Fate. It's a couple of globals here. It's a much more sort of spread out and sprawling sort of team composition.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have just joined us, I don't know where the heck you've been all day. It is the North American Qualifiers live qualifiers here in Los Angeles at the brand new Riot Studios. This is the same place that all the matches will be taking place throughout Season 3. It will be a Thursday and a Friday for North America, as Saturday and Sunday for Europe. That will be in Cologne, Germany. So, who is going to be in it? That is the question. Will Curse Gaming get through? Will they 2-0 the group? Or will the Brunch Club manage to affront them, I guess I could say, and manage to stop them and get a 2-0. Whoever wins this game will be through to tomorrow. Day 2 is where it all begins, and well, we are about to get in the game, so let's find out who it's going to be. Curse Gaming as the blue team, the Brunch Club as the red team. What are we expecting? Will we see a level 1? We haven't seen one so far today.
The level 1 is most likely here from Curse. They've got 2, actually 3. Heck, all of their champions are really good at level 1s. You've got Voiboy with a long-range stun, St. Vicious with Rupture, Nijaki with gold cards, Cop's got Poke. Actually, both Cop and Elements can check Brush in the Fog of War. They can queue in. If you're Lulu, you can listen for the sound. If you're Ezreal, you can watch your cooldowns. They can all check Brush. Brunch Club, much worse fighting.
So, we do see Nijaki running around, just slowly but surely. What is that? Which one is that? Is that Salsa, Twisted Fate? I didn't actually see it in the load screen.
Tango Twisted Fate.
Tango Twisted Fate, of course it is, in the mid there. And we also have, is that a Tango Misfortune as well? I can't remember which one is with the dress on.
Secret Agent Misfortune.
Secret Agent Misfortune. Well, it's kind of the same thing, I guess.
Tango, Secret Agent, you know. I guess if you're James Bond, you have to dance a fair bit, right?
You have to throw the moves
seducing
out.
women is like part of the show.
But we are laning up, ladies and gentlemen, and things are about to get underway. It doesn't look like we're going to see any late invades for any of the team at the moment, and it doesn't look like there's going to be anything too funky coming out from the teams. Cop is stood right on top of a ward in that bottom tri-bush right now, so they are well aware that it's going to be Ezreal and Lulu down the bottom lane. I think they're quite happy to go against that.
It's going to be pretty good overall. I mean, we've seen... I've been wrong so far on lane assignments with the thinking Curse is going to win the bottom lane before, but you know, we're seeing a pretty similar setup here again. Misfortune and Sona is a very, very strong lane. There's a lot of damage available on it, and once again, you're seeing they're leeching experience from the jungler here to get level 2 faster.
So they are taking everything away from the mid lane. 4 people helping out on the jungle. Voiboy and St. Vicious going to be taking away that blue buff. You can see the golems being picked up, so Cop and Elements still quite happy to go towards that one, and Brunch comes down the bottom along with LEB, and Louder Mortis, after picking up that blue buff, is going to head back towards the north.
Alrighty, so these lanes are stacking up. This 2-on-2, it's poke versus poke, but one of them has a heal, so generally speaking, it's pretty nice to be Sona and Misfortune. The only downside is they're going to hit level 2 second, because Cop and Elements did not share the experience on double golems.
So we're seeing Nijaki versus Trooper in the mid lanes. Kassadin versus Twisted Fate. Kassadin, I guess if he can whiz past and close the distance quick enough, he can do a lot of damage.
Actually, wow, at the bottom lane, so much pressure. The one thing they actually did was they pushed the lane super hard so that Brunch, you would actually hit level 2 first. Despite the total XP being higher on one side, you kill the minions first, you level up first, and they just went in at level 2.
We also see St. Vicious heading down south, actually. He will not get spotted. There's no ward there. It's only in the tri-bush, actually, so he's going to come around the back side of them now. Here comes St. Vicious. He is level 2. He's going to force the flash from LEB. Expect him to make another round trip in a moment.
Yeah, absolutely, until you can put a new ward down. And he does have wards. LEB should be putting one down in the very, very near future. They have tri-brush warded at least, but they still got to be careful.
Well, you can see Twisted Fate in that mid lane starting to push a little bit heavy, starting to just keep those cards coming out. Obviously, he's going to bully Chupa to start with, because he's only got that. There's the null void, null magic. I can't remember what it's called. The silence that comes out.
Null sphere.
Null sphere. I knew it was null something in that mid lane. But top lane, how do we rate this one? Voiboy, Nick Wu, Elise versus Zed.
Well, you're seeing an early minion kill lead from Nick Wu because he's pushing. Zed is a champion with a much better pushing kit than Elise does. He has 2 area of effect abilities. And there's a couple of things that Zed does really, really well. Number 1, he can push from range. He can actually attack from range quite easily. You can see the shurikens come down. And he's able to do that quite a lot. Just toss out the shadow and deal damage from there. And it allows him to actually strike his opponent without almost any chance of counterattack, and if they misstep, he can just switch positions and really kind of all in there. So he's a very good fighter for that reason. But if you do that constantly, you're almost always out of energy, and so you kind of open yourself up for counterattack even in the same vein.
So you can see the Voiboy is actually quite happily just dotting up. What is Voiboy leveling up here? He's pretty much level, put 1 in every single thing. He is going to level the Q up, well, of course you do on the lease. Just keep that dot building up. And Nick Wu on the meantime, let's see what he's leveling up if we can. You can see he's actually going for his
on
E.
Zed max E, yeah, because again you have very much guaranteed poke with the WE combo. The energy cost does not go down as you rank up that slash, but even still, you just want that free damage there. It's really, really effective. And Nick Wu actually going all in on Voiboy. I think it's going to go in Voiboy's favor, though.
He is going to go in his flavor. Oh, but he's just backed away. Now he's going to catch him on. It will be first blood. It's Voiboy that takes it down.
Now, that just seemed a little too greedy from Nick Wu. He thought he could all in with Ignite, but he just did not have enough damage to do it.
Well, I mean, it's a very close fight. We saw it, I think it was one of the games in Group B earlier on today where they did both go all in, and, well, the Zed came out with about 10 hit points more and survived just about, while he did manage to get the kill. So very close. It's very dangerous all in, certainly at level 4 or 5.
And the difficulty now is he's in a really bad situation because you're actually facing now an ahead Elise, which is not easy to deal with. She's trying to push the wave out so she can finally recall back and buy new items, but she has to hurry up with this push because Zed is almost back.
It's interesting to see Elise starting to come back into this one. A lot of the new champions starting to break through into the tournament mode, of course. Elise wasn't available for a while. Zed only just came back into it in Cologne, and here does come St. Vicious, but immediately they back away. I think there was a tri-board whoosh. No, there wasn't, but it was just a case of they were backing anyway because they'd already shoved the lane.
I think they realized that maybe their wards had timed out or just that it was their time to leave. But, I mean, not even a ping, just they had either called it or said, you know what, it's just time to go.
They just felt it tingling. And no, Jackie, well, he was visible. He hadn't gone anywhere. So, 6 minutes gone into this game. It's 1-0, just 1,000 gold difference. And let's look across the lane, see if there's any early big advantages. You can see the mid lane, 47-33 CS. So, Jackie once again winning out his lane.
Yeah, this is a really, really important thing for him. Being Twisted Fate against melee is honestly one of the easier lanes for TF, and he's keeping the pressure on, which is the important thing. If you let Kassadin get mana back by just attacking things and throwing null spheres at you, you will eventually fall over if you're Twisted Fate. But in this case, he's getting ahead of the curve. He's poking early on when Kassadin doesn't have the mana to deal with him, and he's really making that lane easy for him.
And we can see Voyboy already starting to be a bit of a bully in this top lane, trying to keep Nick-Woo away from anything really in terms of damage. Nick-Woo still, it's going to be very hard to keep him away though. And Chupa just dodging nicely on Jackie's cards. So, let's have a look. Anything item-wise we're seeing a Giant's Belt coming out first item almost for Voyboy.
Yeah, it's the build we've been seeing normally on Elise. Again, I sort of mentioned that with the Korean builds, is they are rushing for health because they'll win the lane anyway. Their job is to be tanky and to initiate. The other interesting thing is a very rushed Brutalizer here from Misfortune. Just 3 potions and a Brutalizer.
So they're getting straight in towards the damage. Yeah, no boots whatsoever still. Something we've actually seen pretty regularly nowadays. Now that the jungle kind of has changed, they've gone for that Hunter's Machete. They've started to just stop taking the boots.
Yeah, it's something that kind of these lanes feel a bit safer, especially when you are Misfortune. Your movement speed is just very, very high in general, and so as long as you're not taking poke, you can get away from most ganks. And then similarly, we've seen like Kha'Zix not run boots because with Leap they feel safe as well.
Well, you can see LEB went back and he put a pink ward in that bush. He does not want to get caught out, keeping the wards clean, which means he's going to try and keep it clean for Laudamortis, but Laudamortis cannot sneak around there because there is a ward right on Dragon which sees everything. Jackie going to pick up the blue buff. St. Vicious gives him that across. We do see Nick-Woo heading down towards the red buff, looking like he's going to just take that on his own.
Yeah, it's going to be just kind of easy for him. That's one of the really nice things about a jungler like Malphite is because they have so much crowd control on their kit already, they don't really get a whole lot out of the Lizard buff anyway. But what they are going to allow Nick-Woo to do is, generally speaking, do a very good job in trades here against Voyboy, especially because his passive is going to deal percentage of max health damage when he gets someone below half HP, and so he'll actually scale quite well against Voyboy here.
So Laudamortis has snuck into the bottom lane. Actually backing off though. Is he going to go for a gank, or is he just feeling... Nope, he's gone. Not even going to try for it. Double up there on towards Cop. Brunch Shoot just backs out. I think they thought, well, you've kind of pushed this lane a little bit too much for me to do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, honestly, it's okay for this lane to just kind of to sort of stall out. The real place I feel like Brunch Club should be focusing is actually on Jackie's Twisted Fate. As long as they keep tabs on where St. Vicious is, no one else can really defend that lane quickly enough in time. And as soon as you give Chuper a blue buff, he's going to be extremely sort of present around the map at all times. And they could just sort of group everyone. They could just, you know, put Chuper and Laudamortis together. Chuper just has to put out a null sphere. Second he silences him, no flash, immediately lands the Malphite ultimate.
Chuper chose to just follow on. Actually, I think he went to try and engage on towards Jackie, but he chose to completely ignore the siege minion. That's a 42 gold minion.
That's just, you know, some of that might not be adapting to Season 3 very well, where we significantly beefed up how much gold you get from that minion. Yeah. 42 gold's not a small amount, really. It's basically a tenth of a kill overall if you count assist gold. So, yeah, I would generally get 42 gold if I were him.
Yeah, whether he was just thinking, okay, Twisted Fate's about to go away, I need to be ready to try and ulti onto him and silence him or something, but he just completely walked away from it. That must have been what it was. We are seeing Laudamortis in this top lane, sat ready and waiting to see if he can get on towards Voyboy, though.
Well, it's going to be an option here. I mean, Elise doesn't have the best escape tools overall. Problem is he still has flash. There's the initiation.
There is the initiation. Unstoppable Force comes in, and Voyboy, did he just try and flash away? Doesn't show. No, he didn't. He has still got flash available. And here comes Twisted Fate. Is he going to try and join in? He's far too far away, almost using it as a presence, but instead he goes in towards the mid there. Does manage to get the stun guard on towards Chupa as he ulted and backed off.
That's one of the cool things about... Oh, they almost jumped in. Nick Wu actually flashed in for Voyboy, couldn't quite land it. That's actually one of the cool, rare uses of Destiny is just by hitting it, you've warned the enemy team like, hey, if you dive, I'm going to show up here so they don't dive. And he's like, okay, I'll get to lane. Yeah, but he still got to use it to defend a teammate.
Yeah, and it saved Voyboy's life, like you mentioned. I mean, Voyboy, you mentioned he's actually not that mobile. He could get to the turret and just press E and say, I'm just going to stay up here the longest time I can while the turret tanks you.
Exactly. As soon as they would have pulled turret aggro, he would have called for the teleport, he would have rappelled up into the air, and he would have bought 2 seconds time, which is a pretty good amount. But the thing is, he still managed to save flash the entire way through, so... You know, even when he finally did come back down, he had somewhere to go, make some distance, hopefully turn that one around.
Nijaki continuing farming out and winning out that farm in the mid lane. Hasn't gone off to gank anywhere just yet. You can see he's already picked up that Sheen, so expect him to go looking for some damage. Loudermore is having to come in as Chupa went back to buy or really regain some of that health he was losing out on. Where do you stand on the items? Because looking across the board, again, it's the same thing. We see a lot of the crystalline flasks. It's kind of like a standard thing these days.
It is. It's just so very powerful. And interestingly enough, you're seeing 4 on Curse, but only 2 on the Brunch Club. And shockingly, you're really seeing the lanes going better for Curse overall. They tend to be winning the lanes. The Flask absolutely does help that situation quite a lot. And I like it. It's just a very good sustain tool. It pays for itself rather quickly. And the extra benefit is that it's so inexpensive. You can put a ward and more health potions on top of it, which really gives you a safe lane.
I think it's something like 4 uses, is it? That's the
3 uses, 100 health each.
Wow. So that's just pretty much using it already. Yeah, and you're gonna use that very quickly. So, as it stands though, things will be changing with that item.
It is getting nerfed. It is getting more expensive, most importantly, such that you're getting a less health potion in the start, basically.
Yeah, I think that's on the public beta round right now, so you can check that out. Of course, Voyboy now with a Sunfire cape to start with, so that's what he went with. He's just gone pure tank to begin with.
Yep, pure tank and a lot of split pushing power. This is something that Elise is very, very good at. The Volatile Spiderling, the W in ranged in human form, it's a very good wave clearing tool, especially when you add Sunfire cape on top of that for even more area of effect damage. The thing is, someone has to deal with Elise at all times because your turrets will fall against her.
Yeah, it's just going to keep on pushing that top lane. It's actually keeping Nick Wu very busy. And look at this. He's just worried. He is expecting a gank. He has no idea where St. Vicious is right now, and he's just like, I don't want a part of this. I've got no ward coverage. And look at Voyboy. He just completely knows it. He's just started to become a real bully in that top lane.
And you actually saw Nijaki actually, he shoved the lane and then walked up towards that top brush. Oof, look at the burst from Chuper. But yeah, Nijaki, there we go. Nijaki ran up towards the top of the lane. He got called MIA. You saw immediately he was up in that brush, and you just saw Nick Wu run backward. It's like, yep, they are calling him MIA, and he just walked right back in a lane, no worries.
Stroll on back. Yeah, starting to get a little bit bullied here, which is why Loudermore is starting to come towards the top. Can he catch on towards Voyboy? He has got Unstoppable Force available. He's going to come around. Hasn't used it yet. Manages to get the slowdown. We'll try and delay it as much as possible. See whether Voyboy can actually dodge out of it. Instead, he's going to turn on. Here comes the Twisted Fate. Now, Jackie's going to join the party. There it is. Voyboy's going to get taken down very low. Pounces. Is he going to get away? Yes, he has. Voyboy with next to no health. With the help of Nijaki, takes down Nick Wu.
I can't believe that. He just simply dodged everything there. Great job by him, and still managed to flash out. Just had enough auto attacks in there to just sustain through it, because that W gives you basically lifesteal when you hit things. So really, really nice job there, Voy. And just, yeah, it's a 1-for-0.
So St. Vicious getting a little bit of burst from Chupa. Cop meanwhile down the bottom there. Picking up the golems once again because St. Vicious was a long way off. So this bottom lane, 135 to 133, very even. But who is really winning out between Misfortune and Israel?
Well, you look at it, and I mean, you really can't say. It's honestly equal. These lanes have gone back and forth the entire time. and they're performing different roles for their respective teams anyway, so you can't really line them up head to head and say one's going to have more impact than the other. Honestly, there's a very big burst composition coming here from the Brunch Club, and Misfortune plays a very big role in that. The fact that she has a Brutalizer, has quite a bit of damage on her build, you know, that's going to really help her have that role. Meanwhile, for Ezreal, I mean, you're seeing him, he's going to be more of a persistent damage dealer. He's got a Bloodthirster, he's got some attack speed. He's going to do fine there too.
Wow, Voyboy just starting to bully Nick Wu. I don't really know what he's going to be able to do against this one. He's picked up that Hex Drinker, sorry. And honestly, he can't trade. He cannot stand and trade with him right now. Voyboy's quite happy to tank up the turret hits. He's just throwing that poison, throwing that Q on towards Nick Wu every single chance he gets. And he's just going to continue pushing that turret. And this is what you said, you know, someone needs to deal with this.
Yeah, well, and it's certainly not going to be Nick Wu right now because he's just falling farther and farther behind in this lane as you see Elise just pick up more and more items over time.
And there's nothing more frustrating than just being bullied in your lane. And well, Voyboy's going to go for it here. Nick Wu's in all sorts of trouble. He can just E and just close down the damage. Doesn't matter, just backs away and just forces and bullies him out of lane once again. Kind of forced Chupa to start heading that way. Hasn't gone for it, instead has to put a ward down. And well, when you start putting defensive wards in your own jungle, you know you're in trouble. Exactly,
and you're just seeing Voyboy constantly on the aggressive, and you're seeing over and over again these Spiderlings here pushing damage onto the turret, clearing minions over and over again. He's up 30 minions. That's a very big margin.
So what do you do in this situation? Do you leave him on an island? Do you
Yes.
send help?
You leave him on an island. They've tried once to pick off Voyboy. It didn't work. I really thought they had a good chance the first time, but again, you're fighting against a team with Twisted Fate. There will be counter ganks, and they will suck quite a lot. And when you're fighting someone like Voyboy, who's got such great discipline and really, really great knowledge and great awareness, he gets away, saves his summoners for the last second, and just gets a 1 for nothing. Instead, they need to snowball the advantage lanes. They need to snowball down onto Nijaki. I don't see Twisted Fate ever surviving anytime Kassadin puts a silence onto him. They could kill TF over and over again.
Trooper goes very deep here. Nijaki's going to catch him out. Manages to catch one burst through him, and instead he has to ulti away. So Trooper down to around about half health. Nick Wu's going to pick up the red buff. Is that going to open up anything for the Dragon, I wonder? 17 minutes gone. Nobody's really made any attempts on it. I think they're happy to just keep the lanes as is.
They're actually sending Void down towards the bottom, so you actually called it really, really well. Dragon is a thing right now. Void's just completely running down. This is something that Curse wants. The turret goes down to Void's push. The minions really just kind of picking that up for him. And Curse is going to shove out mid. They want to get Super off the map so that they can just take that one for free.
Void, he's just spotted. They've realized that Nick Wu is back up top, so they're going to go for it. They're going to realize it's going to be a 4v5 at the best. Nijaki is going to get in there and join St. Fish. As you can see, the duo lanes now heading up there. Voyboy is being pinged. He said, yep, entire 5-man Curse team are on the Dragon.
And there we go. They've got complete numbers here. I could not possibly see the Brunch Club invading on this. That is going down, and Void finds Chuper.
Chuper gets caught out there straight away, webbed up, and that was all she wrote. Now Brunch is in trouble as well, and Voyboy just leaps in there, and there's another catch out. LEB this time going to go down. It's going to be a double kill for Cop, and well, Cuz have just suddenly turned effectively what should have been a free Dragon to a 3-kill advantage.
And I can't even understand why Brunch Club went in on that. It's like they know that their Dragon's there. They didn't call Nick Wu to come over. They know it's a 5 versus 4 at best. I can't believe they were even nearby.
I'm lost for words. Maybe that's the difference. Is the calling, the initialization. I don't know what really just the sheer experience, I guess you could say, is like this is an opportunity we've lost. Therefore, step away.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the one thing to keep in mind, though, is Curse did a very, very good job of actually cleaning up that situation. That normally people overextend in League of Legends kind of all the time, and it doesn't always get capitalized on. But Curse did a very, very good job of landing skill shot after skill shot. The chain stun from Cocoon into Gold Card onto Kassadin. The ultimate coming down, finding Sona, all the initiation. Just every single shot landed perfectly from Curse. That is important to realize that, you know, mistakes happen, but Curse completely capitalized on it perfectly.
And that purely comes from experience. I mean, I remember certainly having conversations with, say, with WE, people talking about WE, you know, how they used to be such a fantastic single-player team. Overall, the lanes, they were winning everything. But when it came to a team fight, they just didn't have it. Now, Jackie going to get caught out here. This could be the first kill for the Brunch Club, and they do manage to take it down there. And it's Chupa that picks up the kill. Very nicely done.
And that's what they needed to do from second one. I can't believe it took them 19 minutes to realize that they could one-shot Twisted Fate every time Unstoppable Force was up.
I don't understand why they didn't go for it. But back to my point was the fact that it took Team WE a long time to gain that team composition. They've got absolutely majestic players, but they never had the team comp. Finally, they do get it. They win IPL 5.
Yeah, and they are just absolutely amazing players now. And you're seeing Curse really in a similar situation. They are all individual all-stars. And to be fair, so are the players on the Brunch Club. But you're seeing a sort of team fight difference.
Oh, Chupa completely caught out. They knew he was coming around there. The feast not enough to finish him off. And now Curse might be in a little bit of trouble here. But here comes Voyboy jumping straight through, pounces on towards him. But now he might be in trouble. Laudamonis is backing away. He's got no mana. The rest of the team coming in. That's going to be, oh, not enough damage. And Voyboy is cleaning up here. Gets one, gets two. Zed comes in. Is it going to be enough? Voyboy is there. Zed gets another. Nick Wu should be able to close it down. It's a triple kill back and forth. Voyboy, but no, the shutdown came. That's less than ideal, a shutdown on Voyboy coming from Sona.
And then would you look at that, though, Brunch Club, they came out ahead in that fight. And the reason, they fought a 5-on-4. We just talked about Curse, the amazing sort of team fight presence and teamwork they had. And they just, I mean, they pulled themselves into a 4 versus 5. And, I mean, they fought so well, but they did not have Nijaki there.
They did not have Nijaki. Nijaki has to get middle turret, though. So it's not a total loss for them. But that big shutdown goal bonus,
that is big.
Really needs to go to Nick Wu.
Absolutely, and just getting the gold up there is just so very, very important. Zed is going to be one of the big carries here on this team. It's going to be really up to him to just bring down Jackie or Cop. You know, again, this team does two things here from Brunch Club. They can either play the 5-on-5 area of effect team fight, or they can just completely crush one member of the enemy team pretty much whenever they feel like it. And you're in this kind of situation where, well, they can feel like assassinating right here, especially if Nick Wu's fed.
Well, you can see they're trying to get around that. Nick Wu with that brutalizer in. You know, you can output a heck of a lot of damage as Zed if you get the burst combos right. Insect proof that, certainly from SK Telecom. He's a fantastic Zed player. As it is, though, Brunch Club, this is the sign of trouble. When you're a 4-man stacking in the mid and your AD carries and ADP carry are fighting for minions.
Yeah, that is always kind of a rough thing, and I always see that in games, and I'm like, you guys should just coordinate who scales off gold better and give that guy the farm. It's okay with sharing experience. Don't you get an advantage for sharing experience overall? It's like a 15-20% XP bonus for being, you know, 2 or 3 strong, but as far as splitting up gold, that's usually never what you want to do.
So we do see Cop continuing to farm out down this bottom lane. Let's have a look between the two AD carries, which way they're splitting. This is a definite change. The Iceborne Gauntlet is going to be coming out from Cop.
And that is the first time we've actually seen, I think, Iceborne Gauntlet Ezreal this tournament. We've seen it a whole heck of a lot online and solo queue and things like that. The added crowd control is really cool. But this is just a very different build overall, at least compared to today.
There is Cop, there's elements. You can see them flashing through in the bottom corner of your screen. True Shot Barrage goes by, just Curse desperately fending off and keeping that mid turret clear, and you can see it's barely been touched. Dragon up in 40 seconds, though. We could well see our first fight tonight. Jackie going back. He's going to have his ultimate available to get back involved in the fight should it happen.
You know, so you actually pointed out the Iceborne Gauntlet, and I started thinking about it, about what this build is about, and I feel like Curse's strategy here is kind of a slow churn in combat. So you look at the very first item that Jackie picked up. He's going like a little bit tanky and utility based. You know, he rushed the Lich Bane, then he grabbed the Haunting guys. He's got some extra movement speed and health in there. He's a little bit more defensive than normal. Than, you know, like the standard death cap rush that you see a lot from Twisted Fate. Cop, he's got this Iceborne Gauntlet now to go with the Bloodthirster. He's a bit tanky. He's kind of cooldown reduction based, lifesteal, all that. They're all a little bit just sort of, let's tank it out, let's wait it through, and then we'll kind of go in from there. And this gives them a very different teamfight edge where they're now more immune to assassination, more immune to 5-on-5.
Curse, they are going to take away the dragon. Are they going to try and fight for this one? Laudamonis, if he's going to go in, has to go in now. And
no, they can't.
Wisely this time. Zed was not there.
Exactly, yeah. They can't go for another 4-on-5. It's just a silly mistake to go for. Unfortunately, it was mistimed because Curse got free reign over Dragon with no contestation. You saw they were actually there with skill shots in the air, hoping to land it as soon as Dragon spawned. That's how well they had this timed. and Brunch Club was just not quite on the same page.
Certainly not ready and waiting. So 8-5 in kills, but there is a 10,000 gold difference. That is a huge percentage right now. 4-1 in turrets, and well, that just shows that all the lanes really just completely out-farmed at the moment. 194 to 174 was the top lane. Even in the jungle, 155 to 118, 179 to 177. Very close in the mid, and so the AD carries, though, with a 20 CS difference as well.
And the large percentage of that, though, even though the differences are there, they're not huge, it's from Twisted Fate's passive.
Yes.
You've got, on average, 150 minion kills per player. You multiply that by 5, and that's actually a pretty good gold lead, to be fair. From the 2 minion kills, or 2 gold per minion kill from the TF passive. So that's really what's given COP this advantage. It's not from necessarily outplaying. I mean, absolutely, Dragon, turrets, extra kills, those all absolutely matter, but it's just pushed over the edge by that greed.
It does help out. And of course, there's not too many GP10 items now. Obviously, as the Heart of Gold was removed from the game, suddenly we don't see it stacked on every single player anymore, which is always a bonus. But we do see a little bit more aggressive play. Normally, this is actually only 8-5. Definitely a slow-moving game, but it shows really just how much is on the line for these teams.
Oh, definitely true. These guys don't want to throw this game away. This is, you win this and you make it in a top 8, which is a place that these players really, really, really want to be. And so they're going to take all the precautions they need to. Brunch Club, unfortunately, got caught out with that 3-kill streak from not really stopping a Dragon. But outside of that, these guys have both been playing pretty much an A+ game.
So as it stands, Curse starting to stack up, going to push through. They do. Oh, Kassadin baited out really there, used his ultimate to come in, try and get a burst down on Nijaki. Nijaki, they're trying to burst down, cannot manage to catch him out there. St. Vicious does manage to land the rupture, and there you can see the Iceborne Gauntlets playing work. They can't chase them out.
No, they're not really able to here, but the long range ability from Brunch Club is so very, very good. You've got just great poke here from COP, and if he ever lands a Mystic Shot and he puts that frozen field underneath from the Iceborne Gauntlet, the team can choose to follow up on that crowd control and just initiate a fight. Rupture could land, they could land Cocoon, and they could just go.
Look at the mobility. They're all just making sure no 2 members are really in the same place at the same time because they are so aware of Loudermortis getting ready to get that unstoppable force. If at one moment they all just clump together, he is going to strike and obviously expect the unstoppable force to hit its targets, along with Misfortune managed to get bullet time across them all. As it stands, they've all split across. They are pretty close together right now. Maybe even trying to bait it in there. There is at least 3 or 4 members, and you can see Loudermortis even just sensing it, getting ready to pounce forward.
Absolutely, man. These guys are just looking for their chance to fight here. Both these teams really have a good chance in the battle. The only thing to look for, though, is that COP does have Cleanse and Flash and Arcane Shift available. If they try to all-in COP, they won't succeed. It'll be a really bad mistake for Brunch Club if they do.
Just wondering how quick they may be able to get in there. You can see the poke damage coming through. They do manage to get a little bit more damage. There's Loudermortis. He went and COP immediately cleansed straight out of it. So Loudermortis gets backed away. Haven't managed to land bullet time yet, and they do just force them away. LEP did go for Crescendo there. Still has it in the locker.
But still, that's pretty good. They burned one ultimate for the Cleanse and Flash on COP. If they re-engaged and found COP, they could get him.
They are just going to keep poking back and forwards. Voidboy also down on the mana as well, but the rest of the hit points are slowly working away. LEP should be able to top them off, but they are going to lose the turret. And I think that you're going to see Curse backing away from this one. They're going to try and go aggressive on Loudermortis. Also getting on towards Zed up the top there. You can see Chupa trying to get a bit of burst damage on. Nick Woo's gone deep. He's going to get the Crescendo across. Bullet time pass back across. They do manage to pick down one. Chupa's going to get dropped though, and Voidboy's in there too strong with COP backing him up. And they do manage to get a double kill straight away, so it was a 2-for-1.
Now that was a brutal situation. Nick Wu just kind of showed up in the front of that fight and just kind of died for free. He didn't ult, he didn't flash, he got an ignite off on someone, but he didn't really follow up with his own abilities very well. It was really strange to see him. I was surprised when he was like suddenly in front of the battle because he shouldn't have died like that.
Yeah, I felt that whether he was just dodging out the way of a rupture and the rest of Curse just ready to pounce in it, or
maybe.
I'm not too sure what it was, but like you mentioned, didn't use his ultimate. He could have vanished. You could have used his ultimate to just get away from the fight, but he was instantly silenced.
Yeah, that's a really rough situation for Nick Wu. I mean, if you wanted to go for the initiation and just the silence came out too fast, then I understand it, and then great reflexes to St. Vicious, but you know, these fights really, these should be going, and they kind of are going back and forth overall, and it kind of goes down to the wire at the end, but I just, you know, I'm seeing these slight missteps here from one team to the other, and the other team is so good they're capitalizing on it immediately and punishing.
see it in the gold, the huge stacking across the board. It's like 2.5k gold advantage.
Chupa.
Oh, Chupa completely caught out of position. Silence down. Wow. Now Jackie comes in. Oh, he's going to escape it. Can he get away? Voyboy's back in there. Tries to get the slowdown again, and Chupa may just get away. Has ulted away. Great escape, Chupa.
That was beautiful. Didn't even have flash and still made it out, but they are still on the offensive here. Curse wants blood.
They're still going for it. You can see Brunch trying to keep them at bay here. His club behind him, and well, Curse, are they going to turn this into a big advantage? Are they going to try and push for a Baron?
They could aggress on Baron. I don't think they can get it cleanly, though. If they wanted to bait a fight, they could start, but they wouldn't get it for free.
They're going to head around towards that top turret. And immediately, Misfortune is there. Has got bullet time available. Laudamortis is going a little bit too aggressive. Does he realize the entire team is just around the corner? Can they try and get a pick off here? Voyboy comes around. Oh, he gets the weapon towards Chupa, but they're going to turn back on towards Voyboy. But Voyboy is so tanky. Brunch has got to back away. Couldn't find a perfect time for bullet time here. They are stacked up nicely. Instead, they're not going to go for it. Laudamortis is still delaying. Laudamortis gets turned into a cupcake. Laudamortis taken down very low. Nick Wu at the back there trying to get on towards him along with Chupa. Bullet time does go across Voyboy. Laudamortis still has to back away. Voyboy taken very low. Has to use the Lulu ultimate, but that's going to be True Shot Barrage missing. Cop taken down low. Everybody is low in the fight. Can they get the kills? Brunch is in trouble. Brunch gets popped by Voyboy, picks up a double kill. I knew sooner or later it was going to happen. Nick Wu did manage to get an exit kill. It was a 2 for 2.
There we go, but Curse still on the offensive here. Laudamortis full health. He can walk himself back in, and his Voyboy is diving onto Nick Wu. Can he get the support in time? They're going to trade. The Sona picking up the kill.
LEP picks up the kill with the Tricon, but it's not enough to save the turret, and that is going to be Cop and Elements backing away. They're the last two people you want on live pushing turrets.
Yeah, realistically, they're going to have a really good time of this. Cop still has a decent amount of mana. All that mana from the Ice Port and Gauntlet, 2 Sapphire Crystals in that recipe, and he's just going to be hitting abilities all day, every day. But you're seeing Jackie now in a bit of a risky situation. You know, he's back to that, what I guess you would really consider a glass cannon build by this point, because he's got that death cap up in there. And the Brunch Club, they are rightly focusing him first. Jackie is the easiest guy to kill on that Curse team.
As it is, you can see that Curse are pushing forward. You can see there's going to be the blue buff being picked up by now, Jackie. If you have just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, well done to Pulse. They have just won on the second stream, and well, we are here in a very tight game. Curse currently have the advantages. They have a massive gold lead, but honestly, when it comes down to the team fight, it is much closer than the gold lead would show.
Exactly, yeah. It's going to be my first comment as well, is the gold lead is kind of lies to how this game is going. It is an extremely, extremely close match, and if it goes to that late game situation, you'll see that gold start to matter more. Normally, the gold is indicative of performance, and that's why you see gold leads mean so much, is, oh yeah, because they're just doing better, and you're just seeing that as a performance metric. This is just literally just, they're playing equally, but one team just has more gold, and you're seeing what that looks like. Very, very close team fights.
Very close indeed. You can see the Brunch Club, they want this dragon. They're going to try and get in there. Brunch does manage to catch out that Iceborne Gauntlet Syringes, slow him down, and St. Vicious does bully them away. Comes back around, takes down that pink ward, and they are going to leash out that dragon. Aren't they going to go for this one? If they group up, you can see Laudamortis is ready and waiting to get that rumbling going as the unstoppable force could be unleashed. Chupa wants to put damage down. They keep focusing on Voyboy. And as it is, everybody is just trying to bait back and forward, trying to poke back and forward. Nobody really landing any abilities. Nobody wanting to use the abilities. And now the dragon's gone. They should just disengage. There's nothing worth fighting about. Oh, Laudamortis whips his unstoppable force. Now he gets caught. He gets done. The rest of the team, they're backing away. Crescendo has been used to try and save it as well. But Voyboy comes leaping around the side. Bullet time hits everyone. But it's not enough damage right now. Cop is cleaning house. Chupa picks up 1 kill, takes St. Vicious down. That may well turn the tide, but you can see the rest of the team, they should have disengaged the moment that dragon went down.
The one option they had was that they knew, or should have heard, that St. Vicious blew Feast to take down Dragon because his smite was down, and it was like, okay, sure, they're -1 ultimate, maybe you fight off of that. I mean, even without a dragon, I really felt like Brunch Club could have fought that battle, and it went close despite the seemingly horrible missteps. They fully whipped Unstoppable Force. LEB having to jump in for Crescendo with no one around. If they had coordinated that fight a little bit better, they could have completely wept it forward with Curse. But you're just seeing Curse with a little bit better team coordination.
Just look how tanky Voyboy is right now. He's so strong. He's got that Sunfire Cape. He's got the War Mugs. He's got a Rylas completed as well. He's got a lot of hit points right now.
He is super, super hard to deal with overall. There's not much that this team can do to Void, and you're seeing Void play absolutely right. He's being more the initiator than St. Vicious is, and so he can jump in there with Repel, with whatever he wants, and the easy thing for them is that they can combo that with elements. He can put the shield on and throw the Glitter Lance through the entire enemy team, slow them down. He can pop Wild Growth and just slow everyone, knock them up around him as well. There's a lot that they can do with elements and Void playing together.
So 15-10, pretty close in kills considering we are 34 minutes in, and then a little bit of a Baron attempt. Brunch has been completely caught, has to cleanse out. The Tree Shot Barrage is going to go across, he's taken down very low. St. Vicious has not quite caught him out, but Void has, as he pounces in there, and now Loudermore's in trouble. Nick Woo's going to get forced away. Curse Cop picks that one up. Meanwhile, back down the bottom, LEB is now in trouble. Loudermore gets finished off by Jackie, and now LEB is going to get caught in the rupture. He's going to get bounced in the air. Here comes St. Vicious just chomping on through. Glitterland's catching on there. The rest of the team starting to close around. It's Cop that picks that one up, and Chupa comes around. Chupa could try and take down Jackie. Could they save something? Yes, they can, and Chupa just hit and run and gets away, but it's a 4-for-1. He's going to have to try and defend off Baron.
Well, he's got, if there's any champion that can actually mess with a 1 versus 4 at Baron, it really is Kassadin. So if there's someone who can make this work, it'll be him, but it's just so difficult. He's got ward coverage. There's a chance here, but it'd be super difficult to do anything useful.
Baron down to 3,000 hit points, 2,000, 1,000. No, it's not going to happen. You can't go up against a feasting Cho'Gath. And, well, Chupa, I think, chose wisely there and just backed away from it. So, big, big gold difference now, Freak. 16,000 gold. Is it starting to become too much?
It's starting to get pretty brutal here. Realistically, Chupa's having a good game for himself. 5-4-3 doesn't look the best, but he's actually performing quite well in fights. The difficulty is people have to get low enough for Kassadin to really pick people out. He doesn't have good persistent damage. He is based on burst. And if you can't burst someone for, whatever the rest of their health bar is or push them out of the fight, it doesn't matter how much damage you deal if they're too tanky for you. And so he needs actually some good follow-up from the rest of his team to make those happen properly. If they can do it, then they're great. You've got Mikhail's Crucible picked up here for Sona, so she can keep Misfortune alive. Nick Woo's still having a pretty good game. He's got good gold. And realistically, Loudermore should be effective here.
Yeah, still 3.5k gold difference for Voidboy on the top there. 9-2-9, absolutely dominant performance. He's been playing fantastically well. Let's see how they're going to do in this seemingly final push. I mean, they've got the Baron buff now. You'd expect them certainly to go for the inhibitor.
It's going to be the case here. I really believe that they've got Baron buff. They've got all the cards on the table. They should be able to keep going forward.
They do, and there's the first inhibitor turret going down. They're going to push forward and drive on towards the next inhibitor. You can see that Loudermore is trying to bide his time. He's just never been quite able to find the perfect unstoppable force, and that is going to be the inhibitor going down, and Curse just hit and run. Out they go. Quite happy to just take that victory. 1 minute 40 before the Dragon. I don't think they're too worried about that. They're going to switch around and try and push, clear every little bit of jungle.
And that's kind of how you do it when you push games like this, is when you start getting really ahead, but there's not much to push because maybe minions aren't in range or anything, you take out the entire jungle and deny pretty much all the gold income that's available to the enemy team. There's nothing that Brunch Club can farm pretty much anywhere here, and so Curse could just get more gold for free.
So Curse, massive lead. The Brunch Club up against it. Pulse Gaming just waiting to see really who they're going to face. Looking like it's going to be the Brunch Club, and they faced each other already, and the Brunch Club came out on top. So I guess they kind of got a moral high if they were to go against them in the second game.
Yeah, it would be pretty nice to see that one from them. Neither team really wants to lose at this point, but heck, if you at least beat the team before, you'll feel better about your next opponent.
So there goes the initiation from Loudermore. He did manage to catch on towards Jackie this time, but there's no real follow-up, and Loudermore has just done all he can, and he's just backing out. Crescendo lands, the bullet times goes across, but look, no damage. Voidboy just sat there in that entire bullet time and barely got touched. Chupa goes down. Now the Brunch is in trouble. Brunch is going to get caught out. He gets taken down by Voidboy. Voidboy plunges himself into the depths. LEB getting linked on. Nick Woo getting dropped. And that's going to be Jackie picking up. Another inhibitor turret goes down. The inhibitor is going to follow. And Curse are just mopping up. Are they going to try and tank this one through? Why not? They could do. There's only 2 members left. Loudermore comes back in. Just gets shouted down by St. Vicious. Voidboy's trying to clear up here. Voidboy is going to clear up. You can see the damage pointing down. Nexus turrets drop. Curse Gaming are through 2-0. And that's kind of what we expected, but there it is. You can see on them, they're happy. They're through.
they are through. Their opponents made it interesting, to be sure. If you're a Curse fan, you had a couple of missed beats on your heart there, but generally speaking, they looked strong. They looked like the team we were expecting to show up to this tournament, and they did make it happen. They're on to the quarterfinals. 5 of those 8 teams are making it into Season 3. And so Curse right now is like, yep, 2-0. They were close games, okay, but they're in good shape.
And you know what? The Brunch Club, they should be proud of that, because they were about 10 to 13,000 down, and they were still keeping fights close.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely a very, very good team. You know, they beat Pulse here up on the second stream, the first match of this group. You're seeing them here put up a pretty good showing against Curse, to be fair. And now they got to fight right here in about 10 minutes' time for the final spot. They're out of this group. They are looking good.
So who has the best advantage here? You've just come into a game that you've lost. So you've coming off the back of a loss. The other team's coming off the back of a win. How do you stand in the moral ground, considering you've already beaten the opposition?
I think you generally feel good if you're Brunch Club. The nerves are certainly there because you know it's one game away, and you know that first game, it was close. The kills were basically equal. We're going to watch a replay of that last push, though. I want to give a shout-out to Kopp in this one because his positioning was amazing. So the initial jump in happened, and you just saw Kopp never getting dropped down. Chuper had already fallen. At this point, it's cleanup mode here because there's just simply too much damage available. The only one left alive who dies here is Nick Wu. Gets exploded by trying to jump in onto elements. At this point, they kind of know they'd lost, but the real opening to that fight was Kopp Arcane shifting away from the Unstoppable Force from Malphite, and then as Chuper came in on Caston, he got away from him as well.
Absolutely fantastic performance. So, Curse are through 2-0. Who will join them, Pulse
or the Brunch Club?
That is the question. This is Group A, of course, or Group C, as if we'd like to call it here on TV, but everybody else on the internet land calling it Group A. So let's not get things too confusing. Group 3, I think we'll call it.
The third group of the day.
The third group of the day. They will be, of course, facing now. They are top, Curse. They'll be facing second place, which is Man's group. We've also got, in fact, that group is tight to me.
That group is incredible. Cloud9, Azure, lots of great names there. Guys, we'll be joining you right after the break. We're going to find out what other team is going to move on to day 2.